Hey guys, before this video starts, I just wanted to quickly mention that we're going to be doing a Halloween live stream on October 31st, Halloween night, starting at around 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I, Alex, am going to be playing Friday the 13th, Costume Quest 2, and South Park. So make sure you join us on Podcast Now at youtube.com. We're going to be live streaming that night, just playing those 3 games, having some fun. I'll be talking to you guys through live stream, anything you want to talk about, just, a nice little hangout to celebrate Halloween together. So I will see you guys there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Tyler, and we are back for our next video in our Star Wars Community Series, a series that airs every single Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, leading up to Star Wars The Last Jedi coming out on December 15th. So we talk about mainly topics related to Star Wars Episode 8. We're definitely open to suggestions from what you guys want us to talk about, and we take all of those in, and we will definitely get to them, if not in a video, but in a podcast. We're going to be having a Star Wars specific podcast the week that The Last Jedi comes out, where that's when we'll cover everything. So we've had a few videos in the past. We talked about the Knights of Ren. We've talked about Rey, whether or not she'll become evil. And we've also talked about who Snoke is. And there's obviously a connection between Snoke / what we believe to be Darth Plagueis and Rey. We see in the trailer for The Last Jedi, the newest trailer that came out a couple weeks ago, we hear him talking to her in the beginning, and then we get to see them interact in a way in a room together towards the very end of the trailer, right after Luke is talking about how it's not going to go the way you may think. So, Tyler, you have a different viewpoint of what's happening between Snoke using whatever the Force he's using on Rey. You have a different opinion on what that is compared to what other people have said. So what do you think's actually happening in that specific scene?
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels that cover Star Wars that are all saying how Snoke is torturing Rey. He's not torturing Rey at all. And I don't even actually understand why that's being said based on what is said right in the beginning of the final trailer. Just because she's like yelling or screaming, that doesn't, this is going to sound weird, that doesn't mean she's being tortured. She might like that. But seriously, like, just because she's like yelling, that doesn't mean she's being tortured. That just means that whatever's happening to her is intense. Right in the beginning of the trailer, Snoke says, "When I found you, I felt raw, untamed power, and beyond that, something truly special." We know now from an international trailer, the subtitles and stuff, we know now that when Snoke says "you," it's a feminine "you," and we've said before in previous videos that he's talking to Rey. He's not talking to Kylo Ren. So we know now 100% that Snoke is talking to Rey when he says that. So that probably is what is said to Rey by Snoke right before he starts using the Force on her. Now, for me, that's not being negative towards Rey. He's like admiring her power. He likes that she's that powerful, and he probably wants, and I believe he wanted her to be on his side. He got second pickings because Luke probably got to Rey before, or stopped Snoke from getting to Rey before Snoke could get to Rey. So then he had to just end up with weak little brat Ben Kenobi. So the reason I'm saying that is because he likes Rey's power and all this stuff, and he admires it and all that, and it's untamed. So if you're saying that, I felt this raw, untamed power, what does that mean? That he probably wants to teach you. He wants to tame you. He wants to control that power. He wants that power for himself. So he wouldn't torture the person who has that power. That doesn't make sense. He's only saying nice things, essentially, to this girl. Where if you watch the trailer, it's the opposite of what Luke Skywalker is saying. He basically wants nothing to do with Rey. He sees that she's powerful and is like, nope, I'm not doing this. I ain't doing it. And it's probably, I'm not doing this again. But, Snoke's being nice. So when he's using the Force on her, it's not torture. He's using the Force, and I think he's showing her the past. Like, he's given her a vision of what her past really is, the truth of who she is and all of that stuff. Again, the total opposite of what Luke did for her.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw it, I mean, I didn't know what you were saying, how, other YouTube channels were saying torture too. I kind of just assumed that it was more of a reflection period as well. The first time I saw it, I never actually thought either that it was torture. I never really just got that sense. I figured that it's just kind of this rush of probably feelings and what he's showing her that is making her, scream and cry and whatever, and maybe be upset. That's kind of what I got it from first glance too, and I definitely jumped right to the whole he's showing her what actually happened to her when she was younger. And like you said, and like we've talked about before, this is exactly the opposite of what Luke is going to do. I mean, Luke, the movie could very well, Mark Hamill's talked about how he doesn't like how this movie uses Luke or handles Luke. It's very possible we walk out of this movie, and Tyler and I have talked about it before, where we don't like Luke Skywalker anymore, where we're like, man, we just don't like him. And I feel like that scene with Snoke is him saying, here is what actually happened. I'm going to give you the truth. It's going to be painful, but it's not painful because I'm torturing you. It's painful because I'm showing you what really happened. And sometimes the truth is painful, right? So the question I have for you, Tyler, is will this act by Snoke end up leading to Rey being more okay with him and pulling her even further from Luke?
I think it will. I think, and I actually want, so if it doesn't happen, I'll kind of be upset. But I do think that we will see Rey, not 100% on the side of Snoke, but I do have a feeling that at the end of The Last Jedi, we will see Rey kind of going with Snoke. And the only reason is because, and she says it, and we get it from The Force Awakens, she just wants to know who she is. That's all she wants to know. She has no idea who she is. She has no memories of the past. She has no idea who Rey, whoever. She doesn't even know herself. She doesn't care about having these powers. She doesn't want these powers. She just knows that she's kind of thrown in the middle of this massive galactic war between light and dark. She almost in a way is like Luke right now, where it's she doesn't want any part of this. All she wants is to know the truth. She just wants to know who she is. Luke, like I said, he's not giving that to her. He's not giving her the truth. He's not telling her. He's not trying to help her understand who she is. Snoke is. So who would you go with? If it was you, the viewer, I'm talking to you, not Alex. If it was you and you had no idea who you were, and let's say you were in a coma for a long time and you hit your head or whatever and you lost all your memories, and there was this sleazebag, or just not sleazebag, but just this bad dude. But he was willing to tell you the truth over going with this person who based on what people tell you, he's a really great guy, but when you're with him, he's not helping you at all. He's pushing you away. He doesn't want to tell you the truth. So who would you end up going with? Or believing? Or leaving, essentially. You're not going to be with a person who's not, whether you're told they're good or not, they're lying to you. They're keeping the truth from you. They're not helping you understand who you are, and that's all you want. So you're not going to be with them. Doesn't matter if it's somebody who's bad, quote unquote, which I know Snoke is, but I'm just saying, she cares, but she doesn't care because for her it's almost a selfish thing because it's a self-identity crisis where what's important to her. Not the universe right now, because how can you be worried about the universe when you don't even know who you are? That's after. That's just how your body or your brain and your whole mindset. That's how it works. You have to know who you are before you're willing to do really anything else. So for me, if Snoke, and he is showing her the truth, that's why it's so painful because he's unlocking all of the memories that she lost. Or that I almost think that Luke used the Force to block memories from her so that she would forget who she was and never become who he probably thought she was going to become. And by that, it could have meant that he was trying to protect her in a way from getting back on Snoke's radar, which he could have had good intentions, but by not telling her who she is and all that stuff, that's not going to look like he's a good guy in Rey. or in the eyes of Rey. So yeah, I totally think Rey is going to end up leaving with Snoke. She's not going to be on the dark side. First of all, she's not a Jedi, so she's not going to end up a Sith. I do think she's going to end up leaving with Snoke. At the very least, maybe she'll end up going with Kylo Ren, therefore Snoke. Some people think there's going to be a swap. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do think she's going to go with Snoke, just because of what I said. He's giving her the truth. Luke is not.
Definitely, I think one of the biggest surprises this movie, or one of the biggest potential things this movie could do, is shake up how we see the different characters and how they leave them off, right? Episode 8 is going to obviously leave it in an area where they're going to have to wrap it up in Episode 9. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with Luke, like, by himself, what they do with the relationship between Rey and Luke, how that's strained, if it falls apart, if it comes back together, where does Rey go, how does she connect back to Kylo and Snoke, and then where do they go in the future? There are different ways this movie could go, and there's different ways the movie can handle it, and I think that is probably what's the most exciting about Episode 8, is we really don't necessarily know where things are going to fall out at the very end of it. And I think that's the coolest part. So we want to know from you guys, what do you think is going to end up happening? Do you think that Snoke is actually trying to help Rey in that scene? Do you think Rey is eventually going to kind of be drawn to him and be on his side? Let us know in the comments below. Again, we have many other videos we've already done on this. These come out every single Thursday, our Star Wars community series, at noon Eastern Standard Time, leading up to Star Wars The Last Jedi on December 15th. That last week before the movie comes out, we will be having a Star Wars podcast where we'll be talking about your topics and anything you want to talk about. We'll do that each day of that week, and we'll talk about that as we get closer, along with a couple other special announcements. So thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you next week. Just to let you guys know, we're going to be doing a Star Wars Battlefront 2 Community Day event on Sunday, November 19th and Sunday, November 26th, where Tyler and I will be playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we want to play with you. Those who have Star Wars Battlefront 2, we welcome you to play with us. We'll be collecting your names and hopefully being able to get into groups with you. We want to play with you, and we're giving you some incentive to do such. We're going to be giving away one $25 Fandango gift card to a person that plays with us on each event, as well as one $15 Fandango gift card to somebody who watches us on each event. So both events are going to have one set each of the gift cards, one $25 and one $15 for events 1 and 2. Again, this is taking place November 19th to the 26th. We hope to see you there.